Hello, everyone. My name is Viviana, and I am the dietetic intern for Sacramento State, and I am doing my outpatient rotation at One Community Health. And today I wanted to talk about how you read a nutrition food label. So let's get started. This is a nutrition facts label that you will find on every food item that you purchase at the grocery store. This particular item has 8 servings per container, and the serving size is 2/3 of a cup. It is important to know that the serving size and servings for container may change depending on the item. You may have heard the words portion or helping when talking about serving size. So if a doctor or registered dietitian says to you, eat only a portion of crackers or have one helping of corn, they are talking about serving size. When consuming a whole container, like a bag of chips, you need to multiply the values by the number of servings in the container to see what you are actually eating. So to figure out how to read a nutrition facts label, you want to multiply the recommended serving size by how many portions of that particular serving size you actually ate to get the number of total calories you have consumed. This whole nutrition label reflects what you are consuming for that particular serving portion listed. Next, I will talk more about calories per serving and per container. The calories that are listed on the food label are per serving. If the package states that there are 8 servings in the container, you must multiply the calories by the servings to see how many calories are in the container. If you are on a specific diet plan given by your doctor or registered dietitian, keep in mind the calories that you were given. So here you'll see the calories are 230 calories per serving. So what you want to do is you want to multiply 230 calories by 8 servings to get 1,840 calories in the total package if you were to eat it in one whole sitting. Next, I want to talk about the total fat content in the container. If you are on a low fat or reduced fat type of diet, it would be good to focus on these numbers when looking at an item at the grocery store. Low fat diet means you are restricting your fat intake, which often includes saturated fat and cholesterol. These diets are intended to reduce the development of heart disease and obesity, or also can be used to manage them. So, what you want is to choose foods with less than 5 grams of fat per serving. And you also want to choose foods with less than 2 grams of fat, saturated fat, and 0 grams of trans fat. Eating too much saturated or trans fat is associated with an increased risk of developing heart conditions like cardiovascular disease and high blood pressure. So, what would cottage cheese look like when comparing two of the same product? The cottage cheese on the left is made to have more fat than the one on the right. You will see the words low fat on the product when the item is low fat. The red cottage cheese has 5 grams of total fat, which we said we want less than 5 grams of fat. Under there, you'll see saturated fat content, and it is listed to have 3 grams, which we also want to limit as much as possible. The blue cottage cheese on the right has 1 gram of total fat, which is the amount you would like to aim for. The saturated fat content is 0.5 grams, and it is also 3% of total calories. So as you can see, the blue cottage cheese on the right is a better option. Now we want to look at the sodium content in a product. So looking at this label, you can see that one serving of the item has 160 milligrams of sodium. If you were to eat the whole container, you would have to multiply 160 milligrams by 8 servings to get 1,280 milligrams of sodium in the whole container. So you would like to choose items with 140 milligrams of sodium or less if you are in a sodium restriction diet. Now let's look at 2 chicken broth items to compare. In this chicken broth product, the one on the left is the full sodium kind, and the one on the right is the unsalted version. There are 6 servings of broth in the container, and the serving size is 1 cup. So let's practice calculating the total calories per container. Remember, multiply the calories, which is 10, to the serving size, which in this case is 6. That equals 60 calories in the whole container. Now we will do the same for sodium. The one on the left, which is a full sodium one, has 860 milligrams of sodium. And as previously mentioned, you want to try to have only 140 milligrams of sodium or less. If we were to calculate how much sodium one container would be, we would multiply 860 milligrams by 6 servings to get 5,160 milligrams of sodium in the whole container. The chicken broth on the right is unsalted version, which has 40 milligrams of sodium in the container. This one is where we want to be. If we were to look at the total sodium in the container, you can see that 40 milligrams of sodium multiplied by 4 servings gives you a total of 240 milligrams. And this one would be a better option for you. When deciding what kind of nutrient to look for when thinking of carbohydrates, you want to look for fiber. Fiber is a great nutrient that helps keep your digestive system flowing and can also help with your blood sugar levels. You want to aim for at least 20 to 25 grams of fiber per day, which means your carbohydrate choices should have 5 grams of fiber per serving. Now, let's compare 2 types of breads. These 2 breads are the same brand but different kinds. The bread on the left is a whole grain type that has 22 grams of carbohydrate, but as you can see, 5 of those grams are fiber. And the bread on the right has 14 grams of carbohydrate, but only 1 gram of fiber. As I previously mentioned, it is ideal for you to have 5 grams of fiber per serving. Next, I would like to talk about the end portion of the food label. This information listed shows you other types of nutrients that are important to consume. Americans are low in nutrients like vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium. Diets that do not include these nutrients have a higher risk of developing osteoporosis, anemia, and high blood pressure. You may see that some labels have these vitamins and minerals listed here. If you are looking for an item that has an appropriate amount of calcium, for example, you would want to look at it here. And if it has 20% or more of a certain nutrient, the item is a good product. And lastly, at the bottom of the nutrition label, you will see a list of ingredients. These ingredients are listed in order of how much is used in the product. For example, the ingredients used in the largest amount are first, followed by those that are used in smaller amount. So you want to see things like whole wheat as the first ingredient because that is what is used most in the product. And you want to try to avoid ingredients that list flour as a first ingredient because that means that flour is the mostly used in the product. But if it says whole wheat flour, then that is okay. And this concludes my presentation on reading food labels. I hope it was easy, clear to follow, and you learned a little bit more about how to read food labels. Thank you.